Lately, and especially this year, it feels like I've spent so much time, and other content creators can vouch, talking about how characters need reworks, talking about how this year we just got so many middling tier 4s, middling uniforms, middling upgrades, etc. This needs this, this needs that, oh, buff this character, buff that character, and by and large, the devs just don't do that. They do not do that. What was the last time you got a character reworked or buffed in any way? I think it was Apocalypse, which was like almost a year ago. Yeah, genuinely. There may be some very, very small changes here and there, like Madeline's team up with Magic getting finally changed after over a year from physical attack to energy attack. But we were actually utilizing that in Team Battle Arena to benefit Wolverine, so it wasn't actually so much of a nerf. But what I was thinking was, rather than just continue saying every single update, hey, you should make Black Widow stronger. Hey, you should make Bucky stronger. Hey, you should make Wong stronger. I get that. Like, at this point, you guys get it. I get it. The devs don't get it, but it is what it is. Rather than doing that, what if we projected, this is my idea, what if we put forth a sort of a new strategy? And the new strategy is essentially this, because this is my idea. We ask the devs, just rework one character every update cycle. So I don't just mean every update, because then Bishop being the only character in the update recently, he would have to get reworked. But I mean between Beast, Cyclops, Storm, Sunspot, Bishop, presumably Ironheart, and maybe that's it. But, you know, all those characters are considered one cycle. Just like buff, quote unquote, one of the characters. And the reason why I put it this way is not because I think the devs are lazy. I would never say that the devs are lazy, guys. I have never said that before, and I would never say that. But it's because I realized, and this may sound really obvious to some of you, but it didn't sound that obvious to me, or I guess it didn't just ding into my head until recently, that if I cry every update about characters getting reworked, needing to get reworked, right? And if the devs listened and said, okay, we're going to rework Professor X, we're going to rework whatever, Winter Soldier, Kingpin, blah, 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 Punisher, Daredevil, right? If they did that, as much as Commander and I would be super happy, no one would buy the uniforms. The psychology would be this. It would be, let the uniform comes out, let the YouTubers buy the uniform, let the YouTubers cry about the uniforms and say that they're not good enough, wait, devs will buff the character, then you buy the uniforms. And I have to say, that's not a good business model. I don't think that's a good business model for anybody in any way, right? No business is going to hey, we released the new car. Okay, YouTube, MKBHD is going to buy the car, drive it around, give it a bad score. Everyone's going to cry about it. And then we're going to take $5,000 off the price, or we're going to add in some additional features for free, no charge. It's just not a good business model for literally anything. Grocery stores, cars, video games, whatever. It's not a good business model. So they definitely can't do it that way. And so should I probably make fewer videos complaining about characters getting reworked? Yes, but it usually comes in the form of the character review video nowadays, or the uniform review video nowadays. I don't make separate videos. This one doesn't count, however, because I'm not telling them to rework every character. I'm saying they should adopt at the company, at least in the Marvel Future Fight team, whoever's left, fingers crossed it's more than one person, they should adopt the strategy of like, okay, each update cycle, guys, we're not even going to get 10 updates this year, by the way. The way that it's going, we're going to get 9 updates this year with the absolutely glacial pace that they're going at. So all we're saying is you take one character from each full cycle and you buff that character. And when we say buffs, we're just talking like 5% or 10%. Hey guys, we're just going to bump War Machine's, War Machine wasn't really performing up to the level that we wanted him as a new Blast human male hero tier 4. So we're going to bump his base stats by 5%. We're going to bump his base damage by 5%. Boom, done. And you do that like in the next update. So at that point, you're creating a new vector of enjoyment and excitement for a character. You basically, the devs, if you look at it from their point of view, they're going to spend very, very little dev time, right? Because they're worried about, I don't want to pay somebody, Alex or whatever, whoever's asking for this. We're not going to pay someone to be like the dedicated rework guy on the team. You know, we get to pay him his salary, whatever, his hourly wage. And instead of him doing art for the game or whatever, he just has to worry about reworks. We're not doing that. Listen, the companies are so cheap nowadays. They just want to spend as little as possible. You know, the hotels are there telling you to take 5-minute showers and not change your sheets every day. Not because they care about the environment, but because they want to save money by hiring fewer hotel workers. Same thing goes for video games. They want to hire fewer people. They want the fewer people that work for them to do more work. Oh, can AI do some of the work? This is where we're going, guys. So this is my suggestion. It fits into the existing culture. You just have the strategy of buffing one character every update cycle, but not in the update cycle, in the next update cycle. So it always lags behind by a month. So for example, at this point, they would say, okay, guys, you know, we took a look at the Thunderbolts update, and based on the data, blah, 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 Red Guardian performed much lower than our projections expected, so we're going to buff his base stats by 10% or 5%, whatever the case may be, right? And then that's it. And now all the players are like, huh, is Red Guardian good now? I was on the fence about it. Maybe I'll pick it up. It creates a new opportunity, and they didn't have to create any new assets. They didn't have to create a new uniform. They didn't have to create anything new. They just took what's existing, they put a little bow on it, and everyone's like, wow, thing in Japan, right? You see what I mean? It's a great idea. And the most important factor is actually limiting it to one. Because like I said, and what it took me a long time, years even, to realize is if they just leave it open-ended, right, we may rework characters. Then we're crying, where's Yelena's rework? Where's Red Guardian's rework, right? Every update. Now, if they just say, guys, they come out, they're like, guys, next dev note, you know, from now on, we're going to do our best to rework one character from each update cycle. Then it's a whole different story. It's like, okay, which of the characters, you know, it's okay, Storm doesn't need to rework this update cycle. Cyclops doesn't need to rework this update cycle. Could be Beast, right? Beast probably needs it the most. Let's be honest. We haven't seen Riri, but Beast probably needs it the most. However, if we think about it this way, if they reworked Bishop, he could actually be like really good. If they buffed Bishop, he could actually be like serious, right? Buffing Beast is just like, it's like warming up leftovers. But with Bishop, ooh, okay, now we're talking, right? You're getting a new line chef. So I think this is a better strategy for them. It gives them a new angle for marketing, you know, for their tweets. I was going through their tweets, and it's a little bit depressing. They have to like double and triple tweet about the same thing because they literally have nothing else to tweet about. Because the updates don't have that many new things in them anymore. And they, it's just, even dividing the update into 2 and 3 parts is not giving them enough, things to tweet about. Like with the most recent update, they tweeted about the mutants, sure, right? And then here they tweet about Sunspot. They tweet about Sunspot here. They tweet about Bishop here. They tweet about Sunspot here on June 13th. And then again on June 23rd, yesterday, right? 8 hours ago, they tweeted again about Sunspot. Now, I understand this is like the character breakdown for Sunspot, and I appreciate that someone took the time to make this 1.5-minute video. And this one, don't get confused, guys. This wasn't a character spotlight video. It was a trivia. It was a 30-second trivia video. It's just like, basically, it's like a slideshow, right? I understand that. But you're not telling me that instead of doing this, right, or instead of doing this one, right, just take one of this, this 90-second clip, which, by the way, takes way more than 90 seconds to make the video, okay? Whoever made the video, it takes a few hours to make this content, I think. You're telling me that this person could not have instead been working on some graphics for the character that gets reworked in this update cycle, and then you can have that as a new event or whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is kind of what I decided I think I'm gonna run with from now on. I'm not gonna be making videos about this like constantly, guys. This is just an idea that I had that I think makes the most sense from a marketing point of view for the devs, but it still achieves what I believe one of the things the game is missing. I think the game's in a really good spot right now as far as content goes. I still think we could use like another difficulty of GBR, and maybe a couple of other things, but I don't think the game needs like me personally, I don't think the game needs like sweeping changes. However, I do think the game needs someone to take a pass on at least one character But in this case, it would be at most 1 character per update cycle, because you got, man, like between Hawkeye, Star-Lord, Gamora, and Bullseye in that update, multiple stinkers. Next update with Daredevil, Elektra, Kingpin, Punisher, multiple stinkers. And just upgrading one of those characters each time actually goes a long way. It goes a long way towards building and consolidating and growing the community, and then sort of like the loyalty of the fan base of the players, right? And if anything, if nothing else I've said in the video entices the devs or whoever to think about adopting this strategy, I would say this. Look at how players responded when you were super generous during the anniversary, the 10-year anniversary, with the 10,000 crystals, etc. If the metrics were exciting then, imagine if you guys did like a mini version of that by reworking or buffing 1 character every update cycle. Imagine how the metrics would look moving forward, right? I think they would be really good. I could be delusional. I could be completely deluded. That's always a possibility. I talk to my doctor about that weekly. But in the meantime, guys, yeah, that's my idea. That's the kind of what I think makes the most sense. Obviously, in like a utopia, they could just always rework characters. But again, in a game this big, in a game with this many characters, you can't have, you know, perfect balance, right? There's always going to be characters that are way, way stronger. There's always going to be characters that are way, way weaker. And that's just kind of, it is what it is. But I do think we can find a kind of a better compromise or a more healthy medium for it than we currently have, where you get certain updates that have just multiple forgettable characters. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. 1 rework per update. Sounds good? Sounds bad? Thanks for watching. Smash like if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.